In the winter of 1984, behind the towering walls of Windsor Castle, a moment unfolded that would become one of the most cherished yet rarely seen glimpses into the British royal family's private world. What started as a simple religious ceremony for baby Prince Harry turned into something far more profound, a gathering that captured the monarchy at its most human, most vulnerable, and most united. The photograph that emerged from that December day tells a story that official portraits never could. It shows not the carefully orchestrated public faces of royalty, but a real family, grandparents beaming with pride, parents exhausted but glowing, and siblings caught in moments of genuine affection. This wasn't the polished perfection of state occasions, but something infinitely more precious: authenticity. But this magical day almost didn't happen at all. Behind the scenes, tensions were building that would later reshape the monarchy forever. Palace staff whispered of heated discussions, protocol was bent in ways that made courtiers nervous, and decisions were made that broke centuries of tradition. The christening of Prince Harry became a battleground where old ways clashed with new desires, where the weight of history met the simple wish of parents to celebrate their child. What makes this moment so extraordinary isn't just what we can see in that treasured photograph, but everything that happened beyond the camera's lens, the conversations that were never recorded, the emotions that protocol demanded be hidden, and the small rebellions that would echo through the royal family for decades to come. The December wind whistled through the ancient stones of Windsor Castle as Princess Diana adjusted the delicate lace christening gown one final time. Her 4-month-old son, Prince Henry Charles Albert David, soon to be known to the world as Harry, slept peacefully in her arms, unaware that this day would mark one of the most significant gatherings of the British royal family in recent memory. Diana had fought hard for this moment. Not just for the christening itself, which was expected and traditional, but for the way it would unfold. She wanted something different from the formal, rigid ceremonies that had defined royal christenings for generations. She envisioned a celebration that felt real, intimate, and genuinely joyful, qualities that seemed almost revolutionary within the confines of monarchy. The Princess of Wales had spent weeks negotiating with palace officials, courtiers, and even her own husband about the details of this day. Every element had been carefully considered and, in many cases, hotly debated. The location itself had been a point of contention. While St. George's Chapel at Windsor was steeped in royal tradition, Diana had initially pushed for something smaller, more personal. She wanted a setting that felt less like a state occasion and more like a family celebration. Prince Charles, caught between his wife's desires and the expectations of protocol, found himself in an increasingly familiar position of trying to balance tradition with Diana's vision for a more modern monarchy. The pressure was immense. This wasn't just about a baby's christening, it was about the future direction of the royal family itself. Every decision they made would be scrutinized, analyzed, and potentially criticized by both the public and the establishment. The planning had begun almost immediately after Harry's birth in September. Diana, still recovering from childbirth but determined to have input in every aspect of her son's upbringing, threw herself into the preparations with characteristic intensity. She studied previous royal christenings, not to copy them, but to understand what elements she could change or improve. One of her first victories came in the choice of godparents. Traditionally, royal godparents were chosen primarily for their titles, their connection to other royal families, or their standing within the aristocracy. Diana wanted people who would actually be present in Harry's life, who would love him not because of his title but because of who he was as a person. This led to heated discussions behind closed doors, with some palace officials arguing that such informality would diminish the monarchy's dignity. The guest list had been another battlefield. Diana wanted a celebration that included not just the immediate royal family, but also the people who had become important to her and Charles during their marriage. This meant including friends from outside the traditional aristocratic circles, something that made many courtiers nervous. They worried about security, protocol, and the precedent such inclusions might set for future royal events. Meanwhile, Queen Elizabeth II watched these preparations with a mixture of pride and concern. She had grown genuinely fond of Diana in the years since the wedding, appreciating her daughter-in-law's obvious love for her son and her dedication to royal duties. But the Queen also understood the delicate balance required to maintain the monarchy's authority and mystique. She found herself in the unusual position of wanting to support Diana's desires while also protecting the institution she had served her entire life. Prince Philip approached the situation with his characteristic directness. He had always appreciated Diana's refreshing honesty and her ability to connect with ordinary people. In private conversations with Charles, he argued that some adaptation was necessary for the monarchy to remain relevant. But he also warned against making changes too quickly or too dramatically, remembering the challenges the royal family had faced in previous decades when they had moved too far from public expectations. The relationship between Diana and Queen Elizabeth, the Queen Mother, had become particularly important during this period. The Queen Mother had taken a genuine liking to Diana, seeing in her something of her own youthful spirit and natural charm. She became an unofficial advocate for Diana's position in family discussions, using her considerable influence to support some of the younger woman's more controversial ideas. 2-year-old Prince William added his own element of unpredictability to the planning. Diana was determined that William should play a meaningful role in his brother's christening, but this created logistical challenges. How do you include a toddler in a formal religious ceremony without risking disruption? Diana worked closely with the Archbishop of Canterbury to modify certain elements of the traditional service, making it shorter and more engaging for a young child. The choice of photographer had been another point of negotiation. Diana wanted someone who could capture the genuine emotions of the day, not just the formal poses that typically characterized royal portraits. She had studied the work of several photographers, looking for someone who understood how to document real moments rather than just staged ceremonies. This led to discussions about which moments would be private and which would be shared with the public. Security preparations were massive but carefully hidden. The authorities had to balance the need for protection with Diana's desire for an intimate atmosphere. This meant extensive advance planning, background checks on all attendees, and coordination between multiple security agencies. The challenge was to create an environment where the family could relax and be themselves while ensuring everyone's safety. The media attention was intense but managed differently than previous royal events. Diana had learned from the overwhelming coverage of her wedding and William's christening. She wanted to control the narrative more carefully this time, ensuring that the focus remained on the family rather than on speculation about royal relationships or protocol breaches. Food and refreshment planning reflected Diana's desire to blend tradition with personal touches. She worked with palace chefs to create a menu that honored royal customs while also including elements that reflected her own tastes and those of her guests. This attention to detail extended to every aspect of the day, from the flowers chosen for the chapel to the music selected for the ceremony. The christening gown itself carried deep significance. It was the same gown worn by generations of royal babies, including Prince Charles himself. Diana had spent time studying the garment's history, understanding the symbolism it carried and the traditions it represented. For her, putting Harry in this gown was a way of connecting him to his heritage while also marking the beginning of his own unique path. As the day approached, Diana found herself experiencing a complex mix of emotions. She was excited about celebrating her son and bringing the family together, but she was also aware of the scrutiny every moment would receive. She knew that this christening would be analyzed not just as a religious ceremony or family celebration, but as a statement about the direction of the monarchy itself. The morning of the christening dawned cold and clear. Diana woke early, spending quiet time with both her sons before the formal preparations began. These private moments with William and Harry represented what she valued most about the day: the opportunity to celebrate as a family, away from the public eye and the weight of royal expectations. Staff members moved through the castle with practiced efficiency, preparing the chapel, arranging security, and ensuring that every detail met the exacting standards expected of a royal event. But underneath the professional calm, there was an atmosphere of anticipation. Everyone involved seemed to sense that this day would be remembered as something special, something that captured the royal family at a particularly significant moment in their evolution. The private apartments of Windsor Castle buzzed with controlled activity as the royal family prepared for Prince Harry's christening. In her dressing room, Diana sat before an ornate mirror while her lady-in-waiting carefully arranged her hair. The princess had chosen to wear an elegant blue dress that complemented the formal nature of the occasion while remaining appropriately subdued for a religious ceremony. Diana's choice of outfit had been deliberate and carefully considered. She understood that every element of her appearance would be photographed, analyzed, and discussed in newspapers around the world. The blue was a color that photographed well and conveyed the right tone of maternal dignity mixed with youthful freshness. The style was classic enough to respect tradition while remaining contemporary enough to reflect her own personality. Meanwhile, Prince Charles was in his own chambers, being helped into his morning coat by his valet. The Prince of Wales appeared calm on the surface, but those who knew him well could detect signs of the pressure he was feeling. This christening represented more than a family celebration for Charles. It was another step in his ongoing attempt to modernize aspects of royal life while respecting the traditions that had sustained the monarchy for centuries. Charles had spent considerable time that morning reviewing the guest list and the order of service, making sure he understood every element of the ceremony. He knew that his role was not just as a father celebrating his son's christening, but as the future king participating in an event that would be remembered and referenced for years to come. The weight of this dual responsibility was something he carried constantly but felt most acutely during family occasions that became public moments. In the nursery, 2-year-old Prince William was experiencing his own preparations. His nanny worked patiently to dress him in his formal outfit while he chattered excitedly about his baby brother. William had been carefully prepared for his role in the ceremony, though at his age, the concept of a christening remained somewhat mysterious. What he understood clearly was that this was a special day focused on Harry, and that the entire family would be together. Diana had spent weeks preparing William for the christening, reading him simple books about baptism and explaining in age-appropriate terms what would happen during the ceremony. She knew that William's behavior during the service could either add to the joy of the occasion or create memorable disruptions. Her approach was to include him meaningfully while keeping expectations realistic for a toddler's attention span. Queen Elizabeth II was in her own suite, being assisted by her dresser in selecting jewelry appropriate for the occasion. The Queen's choice of accessories was never arbitrary, each piece carried symbolic meaning and historical significance. For her grandson's christening, she had selected items that reflected both the solemnity of the religious ceremony and the joy of welcoming a new family member. The Queen had spent the previous evening in quiet reflection about this christening and what it represented for the family. She had witnessed many changes in royal protocol during her long reign, and she understood that Diana's influence was pushing the family toward greater informality and emotional openness. While this sometimes created tension with traditional expectations, the Queen had come to appreciate the genuine warmth Diana brought to family occasions. Prince Philip was characteristically direct in his preparations, focusing on practical matters rather than symbolic details. He had reviewed the security arrangements, confirmed the timing of various elements, and ensured that he understood his specific role in the ceremony. Philip's approach to family events was always grounded in efficiency and clear expectations, but those close to him knew that he was genuinely excited about celebrating his grandson. The Queen Mother had arrived at Windsor the previous evening, bringing with her the kind of festive energy that had always made her a beloved figure within the family. At 84, she retained the enthusiasm and curiosity that had endeared her to the British public for decades. Her presence at the christening added a generational depth that everyone appreciated, connecting Harry's ceremony to the long history of royal traditions. The Queen Mother had spent time with Diana the evening before, offering advice and sharing stories from previous royal christenings. These conversations had helped Diana feel more connected to the historical significance of the occasion while also receiving encouragement for her own approach to celebrating her son. The Queen Mother's support had become increasingly important to Diana as she navigated the complexities of royal life. Princess Margaret brought her own distinctive energy to the preparations. Known for her wit and sometimes unpredictable personality, Margaret had developed a warm relationship with Diana based on mutual respect and shared irreverence toward some royal protocols. Her presence always added an element of spontaneity to family gatherings, something that both delighted and occasionally concerned other family members. The arrangements for Harry himself required special attention. At 4 months old, he was at an age where his comfort and well-being needed constant monitoring. Diana had worked closely with the royal physician to ensure that the timing of the ceremony aligned with Harry's natural rhythms. She wanted him to be alert and content during the service, which meant careful coordination of his feeding schedule and rest periods. The christening gown had been carefully prepared by palace staff who specialized in maintaining historical garments. This particular gown had been worn by royal babies for over a century, and its preservation required expert handling. Diana had requested a private viewing of the gown several days before the ceremony, wanting to understand its history and significance before placing Harry in this piece of living royal heritage. The chapel itself underwent careful preparation to accommodate the specific needs of this ceremony. While St. George's Chapel was regularly used for royal services, each event required unique arrangements. The positioning of seating, the placement of photography equipment, and the coordination of security all needed to be perfectly orchestrated to create an environment that felt both sacred and intimate. Floral arrangements had been chosen to reflect the season while maintaining appropriate dignity for a religious ceremony. Diana had requested that the flowers convey warmth and celebration rather than formality, leading to discussions with palace florists about how to achieve this balance. The final arrangements included elements that honored tradition while also reflecting Diana's preference for natural beauty over rigid formality. The coordination between various palace departments was extensive and complex. The Lord Chamberlain's office worked with security services, household staff, religious officials, and media representatives to ensure seamless execution of every element. This level of organization was typical of royal events, but the emotional significance of family occasions added extra pressure to perform flawlessly. Kitchen staff prepared refreshments that would be served after the ceremony, working from menus that balanced traditional expectations with Diana's preferences for lighter, more contemporary fare. The challenge was creating food that would appeal to multiple generations while maintaining the level of presentation expected at royal functions. Diana had specifically requested that the refreshments feel celebratory rather than merely formal. Security preparations were thorough but discreet. Multiple agencies coordinated to protect the royal family while allowing them to move naturally throughout the castle. The goal was to create an atmosphere where family members could focus on celebrating Harry rather than worrying about their safety. This required careful advance planning and the presence of numerous personnel who remained largely invisible during the actual event. Communication between various family members during the preparation period revealed the complex dynamics that characterized royal relationships. Phone calls, private meetings, and informal conversations addressed everything from scheduling details to deeper questions about the ceremony's significance. These interactions showed how family occasions served multiple purposes beyond their obvious celebrations. Diana's personal staff worked closely with her throughout the morning, managing details that ranged from practical concerns about timing to emotional support as she prepared for another public appearance. The princess's relationship with her staff had evolved into something approaching genuine friendship, and their presence provided comfort during moments of stress or uncertainty. The atmosphere throughout the castle reflected a unique blend of excitement, formality, and genuine family affection. Staff members who had served the royal family for years noted that this christening felt different from previous ceremonies, carrying an energy that seemed more relaxed and authentic. This atmosphere would prove crucial to creating the memorable moments that would define this particular day in royal history. The ancient bells of Windsor Castle chimed as the royal family made their way through the corridors towards St. George's Chapel. Diana walked carefully, cradling Prince Harry in her arms, while Prince William held his father's hand with the serious concentration that characterized his participation in formal occasions. The procession through the castle felt both ceremonial and intimate, observed by palace staff who had gathered along the route to witness this historic moment. Diana had requested that the walk to the chapel be unhurried, allowing time for the family to settle into the rhythm of the day. She understood that rushing would create tension that could affect Harry's mood and the overall atmosphere of the ceremony. This attention to emotional pacing reflected her growing confidence in shaping royal events to better serve their human purposes rather than simply following established protocols. St. George's Chapel welcomed the family with its soaring Gothic architecture and magnificent stained glass windows that cast jeweled light across the stone floors. The chapel had been the setting for countless royal ceremonies over the centuries, but Diana had worked with the Archbishop of Canterbury to modify certain traditional elements, making the service more accessible for family members while maintaining its spiritual significance. Prince William entered the chapel with obvious curiosity, looking around at the familiar yet transformed space. Diana had brought him to the chapel several times during the preparation period, helping him become comfortable with the environment and understand what would happen during the ceremony. His calm demeanor reflected both careful preparation and his natural adaptability to royal occasions. The Archbishop of Canterbury greeted the family with warmth that balanced appropriate reverence with genuine personal connection. He had spent considerable time with Diana and Charles discussing their vision for the ceremony, working to create a service that honored traditional liturgy while also reflecting the family's contemporary values and their desire for meaningful celebration rather than mere obligation. Queen Elizabeth II entered the chapel with the dignified bearing that had characterized her participation in royal ceremonies throughout her reign. However, those who knew her well could detect subtle signs of her personal investment in this particular occasion. Her relationship with her grandsons had brought unexpected joy to her life, and she approached their significant moments with emotional engagement that complemented her official responsibilities. The seating arrangements reflected careful consideration of family dynamics and protocol requirements. Diana had advocated for positioning that would allow family members to see each other during the ceremony, creating opportunities for the kind of natural interaction that would make the occasion feel genuinely celebratory. This seemingly simple detail had required extensive discussion with protocol officials who were accustomed to more rigid arrangements. Prince Philip took his place with characteristic efficiency, but his attention remained focused on his daughter-in-law and grandsons. His relationship with Diana had developed into mutual respect based on her obvious devotion to her children and her growing skill in managing royal responsibilities. He appreciated her directness and her commitment to making royal occasions serve genuine family purposes. The Queen Mother's presence added a special warmth to the gathering. Her obvious delight in family occasions had made her a beloved figure throughout the royal family, and her enthusiasm for celebrating her great-grandson was evident to everyone present. She had positioned herself where she could easily see both Harry and William during the ceremony, wanting to capture every moment of this special day. Princess Margaret brought her distinctive personality to the occasion, finding ways to express affection for her nephews while maintaining appropriate ceremony behavior. Her presence always added an element of unpredictability that kept family occasions from becoming too formal, something that Diana particularly appreciated as she worked to create more relaxed royal celebrations. As the ceremony began, Harry remained remarkably calm in Diana's arms, occasionally looking around at the assembled family with the kind of alert curiosity that delighted everyone present. Diana had timed his last feeding carefully to ensure that he would be content during the service, and her attention to these practical details allowed her to focus on the emotional significance of the moment rather than worrying about potential disruptions. The Archbishop's words carried special meaning as he spoke about the significance of baptism and the responsibilities of family in nurturing faith and character. Diana and Charles had requested that the service emphasize the communal nature of raising children, reflecting their belief that Harry would benefit from the love and guidance of his extended family as well as his immediate parents. Prince William's behavior during the ceremony became one of the most memorable aspects of the day. Rather than becoming restless or distracted, he seemed genuinely interested in what was happening to his brother. Diana had prepared him by explaining that this ceremony was a way of welcoming Harry into the family and the church, concepts that resonated with William's growing understanding of family relationships. The moment when Harry was actually baptized created a hush throughout the chapel that seemed to acknowledge the profound significance of what was taking place. Diana watched intently as the Archbishop performed the ancient ritual, understanding that this moment connected her son to centuries of tradition while also marking the beginning of his own unique path through life. The photographic moments following the ceremony required careful orchestration to capture the genuine emotions of the day while also creating the formal record that would become part of royal history. Diana had advocated for including candid shots alongside traditional posed photographs, wanting to document the real feelings and interactions that made this occasion special for the family. The famous photograph that would become the lasting image of Harry's christening emerged from this balance between formal documentation and authentic moment capturing. It shows the royal family in a configuration that appears both regal and genuinely affectionate, with each family member displaying natural expressions rather than the calculated poses that often characterized royal portraits. Queen Elizabeth II's expression in the photograph reveals her genuine pleasure in the occasion and her affection for her growing family. The Queen's relationship with her role had evolved throughout her reign, and moments like this christening allowed her to experience the personal satisfaction that complemented her sense of duty and service to the nation. Prince Charles appears relaxed and genuinely happy in the photograph, a reflection of the success Diana had achieved in creating an atmosphere where family celebration took precedence over protocol anxiety. The Prince of Wales had struggled throughout his life to balance personal desires with public expectations, and this christening represented a moment when those elements aligned successfully. Diana's radiant appearance in the photograph captured her satisfaction with how the day had unfolded and her joy in celebrating her son. She had invested considerable emotional energy in planning this ceremony, and the positive response from family members validated her approach to modernizing royal occasions while maintaining their essential dignity and significance. The interaction between William and other family members during the photography session provided additional memorable moments. His natural behavior around his grandparents and great-grandmother showed the genuine relationships that existed within the royal family beyond their official roles, relationships that Diana had worked to nurture and strengthen. Prince Philip's presence in the photographs reflects his evolution from someone who had initially been skeptical about some royal traditions to someone who had come to appreciate the value of family occasions in maintaining connection across generations. His relationship with his grandsons had brought unexpected personal fulfillment to his life of service. The Queen Mother's obvious delight in the photographs captured her unique role within the royal family as someone who bridged different eras while maintaining enthusiasm for new experiences and family growth. Her presence at the christening added historical depth while also contributing contemporary joy and celebration. The technical aspects of creating the photographs required coordination between royal photographers and palace staff to ensure proper lighting, positioning, and timing while maintaining the relaxed atmosphere that Diana had worked to create. This balance between professional requirements and family comfort reflected the broader challenges of modern royal life. As the formal photography concluded, the family moved toward the reception, carrying with them the satisfaction of having successfully celebrated Harry's christening in a way that honored both tradition and contemporary family values. The ceremony had achieved Diana's goal of feeling both significant and genuinely joyful, creating memories that would resonate with family members for years to come. The reception following Prince Harry's christening transformed the formal atmosphere of the morning into something approaching a genuine family party. Diana had specifically requested that the celebration feel relaxed and joyful rather than merely ceremonial, and the success of this transition became evident as family members settled into comfortable conversation and natural interaction throughout Windsor Castle's elegant reception rooms. The refreshments reflected Diana's careful attention to creating an atmosphere that encouraged genuine celebration. Rather than the formal dining arrangements that typically characterized royal receptions, she had chosen a more casual approach that allowed family members to move freely and engage in the kind of spontaneous conversation that builds lasting family memories. This decision had required careful negotiation with protocol officials who were accustomed to more structured entertaining. Queen Elizabeth II appeared genuinely relaxed as she spent time with her grandsons, demonstrating the kind of maternal warmth that was rarely visible during official occasions. Her interaction with Prince William revealed a relationship that had developed beyond formal royal roles into genuine affection and mutual enjoyment. The Queen's ability to connect with young children had surprised many people throughout her reign, but family occasions like this christening provided opportunities for these relationships to flourish naturally. Prince William's behavior during the reception became one of the day's most endearing aspects. Rather than becoming overwhelmed by the formal atmosphere or tired from the morning's activities, he seemed energized by having his entire extended family gathered in one place. Diana watched with obvious pleasure as William moved confidently among family members, displaying the kind of social comfort that would serve him well throughout his future royal duties. The Queen Mother took particular delight in spending time with both grandsons, sharing stories and observations that reflected her unique perspective on royal family life spanning multiple generations. Her conversations with Diana during the reception revealed the depth of affection that had developed between them, a relationship based on mutual respect and shared commitment to family happiness alongside royal responsibilities. Prince Philip engaged in serious conversation with Charles about various aspects of royal duties and family responsibilities, but these discussions were interspersed with lighter moments focused on the children and family dynamics. The Duke of Edinburgh's relationship with Diana had evolved considerably since her marriage to Charles, and his obvious pleasure in the day's celebration reflected his appreciation for her dedication to family life. Princess Margaret added her distinctive wit and energy to the reception, finding ways to make family members laugh while also contributing to the warm atmosphere Diana had worked to create. Her presence reminded everyone that royal occasions could be both dignified and genuinely enjoyable, a balance that Diana was still learning to achieve in her own role as Princess of Wales. The conversations throughout the reception touched on a wide range of topics, from immediate family concerns to broader questions about the monarchy's future direction. These discussions revealed the complex dynamics that characterized royal family relationships, where personal affection and official responsibilities remained constantly intertwined. Diana found herself at the center of many of these conversations, reflecting her growing importance within the family structure. Harry himself remained remarkably content throughout the reception, allowing family members to hold him and interact with him in ways that created lasting memories for everyone present. Diana had structured the day's timing carefully to ensure that Harry would be alert and comfortable during these family interactions, understanding that these moments of connection were as important as the formal ceremony itself. The photography that continued throughout the reception captured moments of genuine family interaction that would become treasured personal memories alongside the official christening portraits. Diana had advocated for this more comprehensive documentation, understanding that these candid moments often revealed family relationships more accurately than formal posed photographs. Staff members throughout Windsor Castle noted the relaxed atmosphere that characterized this reception compared to other royal family gatherings. The combination of Diana's planning and the family's obvious pleasure in celebrating Harry created an environment where natural affection could be expressed more freely than usual. This atmosphere would influence how future family occasions were planned and executed. The gifts presented to Harry during the reception reflected both traditional royal customs and more personal expressions of family affection. Diana had specifically requested that gift-giving focus on items that would have lasting personal meaning rather than merely ceremonial significance. This approach resulted in presents that ranged from historically significant heirlooms to contemporary items chosen specifically for Harry's personality and interests. Queen Elizabeth II's gift to Harry carried special significance, representing both her role as sovereign and her personal affection for her grandson. The choice of gift reflected careful consideration of what would be appropriate for a royal baby while also expressing genuine family sentiment. The Queen's presentation of the gift became one of the reception's most touching moments. The musical entertainment during the reception had been chosen to reflect the celebratory nature of the occasion while maintaining appropriate dignity for a royal gathering. Diana had worked with palace musicians to select pieces that would enhance the festive atmosphere without overwhelming conversation or making the reception feel overly formal. This attention to ambient details contributed to the overall success of the celebration. Conversations between Diana and other family members during the reception revealed the growing confidence she had developed in her royal role and her increasing influence on how family occasions were planned and executed. Her ability to balance respect for tradition with contemporary family values had become one of her most valuable contributions to the monarchy's evolution. The reception provided opportunities for family members to discuss Harry's future in ways that went beyond immediate ceremonial concerns to consider his long-term development and the role he would eventually play within the royal family. These conversations revealed the thoughtful planning that characterized royal family approaches to child-rearing and education. Prince Charles's interactions with various family members during the reception showed his satisfaction with how the day had unfolded and his appreciation for Diana's efforts in creating such a successful celebration. His relationship with Diana had been tested by the pressures of royal life, but occasions like this christening demonstrated their ability to work together effectively when focused on family priorities. The informal conversations that took place during the reception addressed various aspects of royal family life that were rarely discussed publicly but that significantly influenced family dynamics and decision-making. These discussions revealed the complexity of maintaining family relationships while also fulfilling official royal responsibilities. As the reception continued, the atmosphere became increasingly relaxed, with family members sharing personal stories and observations that reinforced their connections to each other and their collective commitment to family happiness. Diana watched these interactions with obvious satisfaction, understanding that she had successfully created the kind of family occasion she had envisioned when planning the christening. The transition from formal ceremony to informal celebration had been achieved so smoothly that many family members commented on how natural and comfortable the entire day had felt. This success reflected Diana's growing skill in balancing royal protocol with genuine family needs, a talent that would influence how future royal celebrations were planned and executed. The photography that concluded the reception captured family members in states of genuine relaxation and happiness, providing a visual record of the successful celebration that Diana had worked so hard to create. These final images would become some of the most treasured photographs in royal family collections, representing a day when tradition and contemporary family values achieved perfect harmony. As the winter afternoon light faded over Windsor Castle, the christening celebration of Prince Harry drew to a close, leaving behind memories that would resonate through the royal family for decades to come. The success of the day extended far beyond the immediate joy of celebrating a new family member. It represented a significant moment in the ongoing evolution of the British monarchy and the establishment of family traditions that would influence future generations. Diana spent the final hours of the celebration moving quietly through the reception rooms, speaking personally with each family member and ensuring that everyone felt genuinely appreciated for their participation in Harry's special day. Her attention to these individual connections revealed the depth of her commitment to strengthening family relationships and her understanding that royal occasions served multiple purposes beyond their immediate ceremonial significance. The conversations that took place during these final hours touched on subjects that would prove prophetic for the royal family's future. Family members discussed the balance between tradition and change, the importance of maintaining genuine family relationships despite the pressures of public life, and the hope that Harry's generation would benefit from lessons learned by their predecessors about navigating royal responsibilities. Queen Elizabeth II's private moments with Diana during the conclusion of the celebration revealed the growing respect and affection that had developed between them. The Queen's appreciation for Diana's efforts in creating such a successful family occasion was evident in her personal comments and her obvious satisfaction with how the day had unfolded. These interactions strengthened a relationship that would become increasingly important for both women. Prince Charles reflected on the day's success with a mixture of pride and contemplation about the future. His partnership with Diana in planning and executing the christening had demonstrated their ability to work together effectively when focused on family priorities. This collaboration offered hope for their continued ability to navigate the complexities of royal marriage and parenting. The Queen Mother's departure from Windsor carried with it expressions of genuine delight about the day's celebration and anticipation for future occasions when the family would gather to mark significant moments in Harry's life. Her enthusiasm for family occasions had always been infectious, and her obvious pleasure in Harry's christening reinforced the importance of maintaining strong intergenerational connections within the royal family. Prince William's experience of the christening would prove formative in his understanding of family relationships and royal responsibilities. The attention and care with which the adults had included him in his brother's celebration taught him important lessons about the value of family support and the joy that could be found in marking significant life occasions together. The staff throughout Windsor Castle began the process of documenting and preserving elements from the christening that would become part of royal family history. This careful preservation reflected an understanding that the day had achieved something special in terms of balancing tradition with contemporary family values, creating a template that could inform future royal celebrations. The photographs from Harry's christening would eventually become some of the most beloved images in royal family collections, not only for their formal beauty but for their successful capture of genuine family affection and happiness. The decision to include both formal portraits and candid shots created a comprehensive visual record that served both official and personal purposes. Diana's personal reflection on the day revealed her satisfaction with having successfully created the kind of family celebration she had envisioned when planning began months earlier. Her ability to balance respect for royal tradition with contemporary family values had resulted in an occasion that felt both significant and genuinely joyful for all participants. The religious significance of Harry's christening extended beyond the immediate ceremony to encompass broader questions about faith, family, and the values that would guide his upbringing. The conversations that took place throughout the day about these deeper matters established foundations for Harry's moral and spiritual development that would influence him throughout his life. The media coverage of the christening, while carefully managed, succeeded in conveying the warmth and authenticity that had characterized the private family celebration. This public sharing of family happiness helped strengthen the connection between the royal family and the British people, demonstrating that royal occasions could be both dignified and genuinely relatable. The success of Harry's christening established precedents for future royal family celebrations that emphasized genuine family connection alongside traditional ceremonial elements.
Diana's approach to planning and executing the event influenced how subsequent christenings, birthdays, and other family occasions would be conceived and carried out. The relationships that were strengthened during Harry's christening celebration would prove crucial for family stability during challenging periods that lay ahead.
The bonds of affection and mutual support that were reinforced on this day created resources that family members would draw upon during difficult times and personal struggles. The legacy of Harry's christening extended to broader questions about the monarchy's relationship with contemporary British society. The successful balance of tradition and modernity that characterized the celebration demonstrated the royal family's ability to evolve while maintaining essential dignity and significance. Prince Philip's satisfaction with the day's events reflected his appreciation for occasions when royal family life achieved harmony between personal happiness and official responsibilities. His observations about the celebration would influence his advice to younger family members about navigating the complexities of royal life.
Princess Margaret's contribution to the day's success reminded everyone of the importance of maintaining individual personality and authentic expression within the constraints of royal protocol. Her presence had added warmth and spontaneity that enhanced the overall atmosphere of celebration. The careful attention Diana had paid to including meaningful elements from different family traditions created a christening celebration that honored the past while also establishing new customs for future generations. This thoughtful approach to tradition became one of her most significant contributions to royal family life. As the final guests departed Windsor Castle, the immediate family gathered for private moments with Harry that would remain forever in their personal memories. These intimate concluding moments reinforced the family bonds that had been celebrated throughout the day and established foundations for relationships that would sustain family members through future challenges and changes. The christening of Prince Harry in December 1984 ultimately represented more than the celebration of one child's entry into the church and the royal family. It demonstrated the possibility of maintaining royal dignity and tradition while also embracing contemporary values of family warmth, authentic emotion, and genuine celebration. The photograph that captured the royal family together on this day became an enduring symbol of a moment when everything seemed possible for the monarchy's future. The genuine happiness visible in every family member's expression represented hope for continued evolution and adaptation that would allow the royal family to remain relevant and beloved for generations to come. In years that followed, family members would return to memories of Harry's christening as an example of how royal occasions could successfully serve both ceremonial and personal purposes. The day established a standard for family celebration that balanced respect for tradition with attention to contemporary family values, creating a legacy that would influence royal family life far beyond that December afternoon at Windsor Castle. The love that surrounded Prince Harry on his christening day created foundations for the confident, compassionate person he would become. The family bonds that were strengthened during this celebration provided him with resources for navigating the unique challenges and opportunities of royal life while maintaining connection to the values and relationships that would always remain most important to him.